In this video, I'm going to show you my strategy behind analyzing Performance Max campaigns in 2024. This is the same strategy I've been using this entire year to now scale over 93 e-commerce brands under my agency, Your Marketing, beyond 6, 7, and even 8 figures in revenue. Now, one thing you want to understand is before you can analyze any Performance Max campaign, you need to ensure there's enough data on the campaign level itself to make any types of changes to optimize anything. I've seen so many brand owners out there, marketing teams, CMOs, etc., who just go into a Performance Max campaign from day number 2 or day number 3 where they don't have enough data, they don't have enough ad spend, and they think that that Performance Max campaign is ready to be optimized. I can guarantee you this is one of the fastest ways to fail with a Performance Max campaign. Now, you might be asking, what is enough data with a Performance Max campaign? Ideally, you want to be spending 1 times to 3 times your average order value on a Performance Max campaign to even consider it having enough data to then begin the optimization phase. Now, 1 times to 3 times your average order value, let's say your average order value is $100, then you need to be spending at least $100 up to $300 on that Performance Max campaign first within a period of time before you think it's enough to be optimized. Now, on the other hand, if you're not spending as much money, maybe you have a lower budgets for your e-commerce brand in general, then you should be waiting about 7 days ideally before you begin analyzing your Performance Max campaign and before you begin understanding how that Performance Max campaign is actually performing. But let's assume you've already reached this level, you have spent 1x to 3x your AOV, or you have waited 7 days. Here is where we begin analyzing the Performance Max campaign. And for the sake of this example, we're going to be going inside this e-commerce brand, which is under my agency, Your Marketing, which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $1 million a year, you need extra help scaling your brand to the next level, to levels like these, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen. But anytime I'm analyzing a Performance Max campaign, the first thing I start by looking at is the insights and report section. This is one of the most overlooked sections within a PMax, and I can't tell you how many times we've done some changes based on the insight section here, which have catastrophically increased the revenue in a positive way, or catastrophically increased the ROAS in a positive way. So the insights and report section, one of the most important sections you should be analyzing, because it's like the center house of all of the data within your ad account. But I always like to look at a long period of time in terms of data, so I always change the last 28 days. What we're trying to understand here in terms of analysis is we're trying to understand what keywords are you actually starting to rank for. And as you can see, for this brand, we're already ranking for 4,610 different keywords. The main thing you need to understand is which one of these keywords are generating you the most amount of conversions and which one of them is generating the most amount of conversion value. Now, what I'm trying to understand from this section is, number 1, are we just doing retargeting? Or number 2, are we basically doing 50-50 where there's a little bit of retargeting, a little bit of cold traffic? This is important because I see so many brands that I'm regularly auditing where the number 1 keyword or the number 2 or number 3 keywords here that are getting them sales is their own brand name that people are searching for, and then the PMax is getting sales through them. This is a red flag within your PMax. If you notice this happening, you are doing too much retargeting via that Performance Max campaign, and this means your strategy needs to change. Now, in this situation, we see, and you can't see these, but the top 2 keywords are cold traffic related keywords. The third keyword is the brand keyword, which is completely fine because it's number 3 on the list. Number 1 and number 2, the ones that are getting majority of the sales, are cold traffic keywords, which is what we want. And then number 4 and number 5 here are also cold traffic keywords. So this tells me that this brand right here, it's not so much focused on retargeting, it's rather focused on the cold traffic side of things, which is exactly what your brand needs to be focusing on. And then after the insight section, what we like to do is we like to go on over to the asset group section, because the asset group section, depending on how you have laid out your Performance Max campaign, can either be showing your ads to different traffic placements like YouTube, Gmail, Discovery, or if you're doing a shopping feed only, it should be only showing up on the shopping side of things. But regardless of where you're showing it at, you need to understand which of these asset groups are actually performing well. And the way to analyze this, first of all, you don't really get much data from Google itself to know if these images are doing well versus if these logos, headlines, etc. are doing well. The most you can look into analyzing is by going and clicking viewing details, and then from here clicking on the combinations right here, and this will tell you which combinations are getting shown the most, which are the winning ones, etc. Again, you cannot look at the numbers because this is a downfall with PMax where it doesn't let you add those columns in here, simply put. And then you can finally go on over to listing groups from the asset group section, which is where majority of your analysis can continue. Now, when I'm analyzing these things, there's two different things I'm trying to look for. First thing I'm trying to look for is which one of these listing groups is doing well, first of all, and you can do this by just going from the asset groups directly and noticing what your listing groups are called. It's super important to know which listing groups you're looking at. So there's two separate listing groups which are active here. We're going to compare these side by side. So this is the first listing group right here, which is this one right at the top. And then if we go back right here, the second listing group is the second asset group which we have added. Now, both of these have different results right here. And this is super important because from here, what you're trying to understand is how much these specific asset groups and listing groups have spent, but also which one is doing better versus which one is doing worse. Now, when I'm analyzing things, I'm looking at things such as the conversion rates. I'm looking at the average cost per link click, but most important of all, I'm looking at the ROAS and the cost per sale column. Now, the ROAS for this one is much higher because the cost per conversion is lower. Now, if you had just looked at conversion rate, you might have said that this is not a good one because it has a lower conversion rate than the second one. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter because the ROAS is higher here. That's all that matters. So you need to always keep in mind that one major metric you're looking at, whether it's cost per sale or ROAS, and then go based off of those things. Now, the second thing I'm trying to understand when I'm analyzing my listing group section right here is how much in total we have spent across these different product-based asset groups. And this ad spend right here, this is telling us how much these asset groups spent on the individual products, meaning shopping placements only. And what I want to do is I want to basically add these numbers up. You can do the same on your end as well to understand how much these listing groups have spent, because it's super important to know where our budget is getting spent. So in total, it looks like 17,000 in the last 30 days was spent on products only, meaning shopping placements alone. However, if we now go back to the all campaigns level and look at how much this campaign spent in total, we can see that this campaign spent a total of $22,426 in this 30-day period, which means if we do a little bit of math, roughly $5,000 was spent on the asset groups themselves, meaning these images, logos, headlines, etc. that we have added in here. This is super important to know because if you see that the total ad spend that's getting spent on these asset groups, it's more than what you're spending on the products themselves, then that's a problem, because you want to always make sure shopping gets more of the ad spend, and then these asset groups right here get a lower portion of it, because this moment that these start getting more is the moment this performance max campaign becomes a display traffic campaign, and you don't want that happening at all. So you need to be ensuring that you're analyzing these things to understand what the total ad spend is for the products versus the asset groups. But once you have done that, from there, the next step is to finally go on over to the product section, because by this time it's as simple as analyzing which of these products are hitting your profit margins versus which are not. And I like to look at three distinctive product types when I'm analyzing every single time. First product type is the good product. Second one is the bad product. And then the third one is the ugly product. Let's start off with the good products. Obviously, good products are those that are spending decent amount of money. They have a profitable return on ad spend. That's what qualifies them as good in my eyes. And anything that's below the profit levels that we want are the bad products. Essentially, in this situation, this could potentially qualify as a bad product. This could qualify as a bad product as well. This one as well. What we're doing essentially is for all the bad products, we're going in and we're essentially excluding them to give them their separate approach. Keep in mind, you never want to confuse the algorithm by putting a good product in the same campaign as a bad product, because all this does is it messes up the algorithm's optimizations and makes it kind of work twice as hard to figure out what to show and to figure out what not to show, which is not something you want to do. You want to always keep things extremely simple and straightforward for the algorithm. So these are the bad products, which are basically the ones that need to be gotten rid of because they're overspending, they're not hitting your profit margins. Now we come to the ugly products. The ugly products are essentially all those products which are eligible within your campaigns. They should be running, they should be spending money, but those products with clicks less than one, meaning in the last 30-day period or whatever time period you're looking at, they have not gotten a single link click. These are what I call the ugly products, because these products and there's 640 of them, there could be potential winning products in here which you're not aware of. And there's so much that you could be doing with these products, but because of the way this campaign is set up, these products do not have the ability to get shown, because the way the algorithm works is it will push majority of your budget towards the top 10 to top 20% of your product catalog, which is getting the most amount of link clicks, which is getting the most amount of sales, etc., and leave all of these untested. So these are what I call the ugly products, because they are doing nothing at all. They're just sitting like parasites within your campaign. These ugly products also deserve their own separate home, because you never know, one of these ugly products could then transition into a good product. And that's what we have seen so many times for a lot of the brands we handle as well. But from all of this analysis, all you're really trying to understand is, number one, what's working, number two, what's not working, and number three, what can be fixed so that it becomes working in the future. That's literally it. Just three major things which you should be aiming at when analyzing your performance max campaigns. And from here, that's when the optimization phases would really begin. But again, if you run a brand doing $1 billion a year, you need extra help scaling your brand to the next level, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen. But check out this video right here I made a few months ago on optimizations of performance max campaigns, and how once you're finished analyzing here, you can then begin optimizing using the strategies in that video.